just sit there, bask in the euphoria. Thank you so much, Canadian Film Festival! Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Canadian Film Fest Q&A for this night's screenings. We've got the cast and crew of HYPERNOVA and VOLITION with us. So first, we're going to start with the wonderful people from HYPERNOVA, and I'm here as always with my my co-host Ashley Rains. Ashley.
Hi everyone. Hi. Welcome, cast of HYPERNOVA. Can you all and crew? Can you all introduce yourselves for us?
Sure. I'm Tate. I'm the writer and director.
I'm Natalie Lishinska. I'm the actor, one of the actors.
I'm Delmar, and I'm one of the other actors. There's more.
Awesome. Good to have you guys here. Good to have you.
Yeah.
Ashley was bugging me right before everything started because she's like, "This one's mine. Just I want you to shut up today, Brian." So I'm going to be uncharacteristically quiet today.
Well, I'd love. Okay, yeah. I'd love to start by saying a huge congratulations to you, Delmar, for winning a CSA this week.
Yeah, how cool is that?
Best guest performance. It's so well deserved, and I'm so happy to see your success. It's truly an honor, and thank you, Tate, for sharing your film with us. It's the metaphor, the imagery, the relationships, the performances are incredible and so beautiful. How did you come to this film, the idea, and how did you get it made?
That's a good question. I mean, the whole sort of film started probably 6-7 years ago after my dad had died. I felt like I was sort of floating through space and production and everything else, and I wrote a draft of something like that. There was, I kind of had this image of somebody. It kind of started with that first image of somebody walking home when they carrying a pillow and a trophy, which is, you know, I don't know if anybody here has ever done sort of the walk of shame at 6 a.m, but it kind of started with that, and then about 2 or 3 years ago, I revised the draft and rewrote it, and then I bumped into our producer David Fernandez, who can't be here tonight, but yeah, like he and I just kind of hit it off, and I was like, oh, I've got this script, and he read it and he quite liked it, and then basically, yeah, he introduced me to Natalie and Delmar, and he was like, these are the people that should, you know, play the people in the spacesuits. So that's the rough gist of it. Yeah.
And I love that the spacesuit thing, just to start off with, on a whole bunch of different levels. One, it looked a little bit futuristic, which is funny because the people who just blasted off today, the astronauts who blasted off today on SpaceX, their suits look like your suits. And you did this a long time ago. I'm just saying that was really cool.
They knocked ours.
Right, but also more importantly in the context of the movie is how that was like, it just was an amazing metaphor for me of how Natalie's character was part of but isolated from society, and then when she sees Delmar, she sees, you know, a like soul, and they recognize each other. No, in a crowded room, nobody sees what's going on between you two, but you recognized each other, and it was so powerful for me that's to me what right away that sold the movie. Let alone all the beautiful, like Ashley was saying, the beautiful metaphors and the imagery and all that. So that part of it, that recognition of two like souls, was that in the original script? How did that come to fruition? I like the genesis of those kind of ideas. Yeah,
that was always in the script, was that this person is feeling, you know, very isolated and feeling like they're the only one like this on the entire planet. And then they bump into someone else who's like that. And the isolation was real. And talking to both Natalie and to Delmar, maybe you guys can talk about that, but it was kind of odd. Like as soon as, like, it's a great sort of metaphor for what's going on today, right? You go to the grocery store and it feels like that. But both of you, I think, sort of experienced, like when I remember putting the suits on you, and there was a moment on like day 3 of shooting where you were both wearing them and you're both standing there doing nothing but just kind of hanging out. Like it was It was really odd. Can you guys talk about that for a second? Like the actual isolation of being in a spacesuit. It was really kind of fascinating.
Yeah, actually, it was a relief to have Delmar on set, also in a spacesuit, because when the day, it was like the third day or the second
Third,
day when we
yeah.
shot with Delmar, and so the first 2 days, I had felt super isolated from everybody else, and then it was like, oh, there's another actor in a suit who I can talk to about being in a spacesuit,
Yeah.
which is like a parallel to the story as well. But the spacesuit, I mean, usually when I go to set and I know that I have a day ahead of me where I'm gonna have to delve into some emotional stuff, I'll actually bring with me like triggers, like emotional triggers just from my life, and didn't need them because that suit was there was something about it that in and of itself it was triggering. It was so isolating. And it's so funny how, given the times that we're in now, you know, like what we're talking, using the words isolating, and it was so like
Yeah.
it works for what's happening right now, even though the film Tate, you're a prophet, you know, like it feels like he in a way was sort of, you know, talking about things before they happened.
Oh, yeah. When I've got this image of like them, something clicking, and then the fan that was in the spacesuit starts going, and then it cools everything down. It felt like time was slowing down when you were in the suit. You know, you couldn't do anything fast, so it just kind of forced you to take things as they come. And when I would see Natalie, we were trying to develop some language of just looks, of just like tired, too hot, fan not working.
You okay?
Things like-
Yeah, I'm okay.
Just,
That's
you know, yeah, I knew I had someone on my side, so it was but it was special, like a very unique experience. And yeah, like Natalie said, like when you're in the suit, it's like you don't have to, you know, bring yourself to any state. It's kind of you're sort of floating already.
Yeah.
Wow. So,
Well,
so
that bond definitely came across in the performances between you two
Oh yeah.
in that relationship.
most definitely. That's really cool. Was it okay? And this is actually a question from Internet Land, just because we happen to be talking about the spacesuits.
Sure.
Gina Maria Barbera is asking to both of you, was it hot inside those spacesuits? Which I was wondering too, because you've got to be in them for hours, all day, right?
Yeah, it was hot. If the fans weren't working, like you had to make a fuss, and like 4 people would show up to figure out how they're gonna help you.
Yeah.
And
It was
so,
usually me. It'd be bad, like sorry, like so many times I'm like sorry, Delmar, because there'd be like condensation.
there'd be
Remember?
that, yeah.
And I'd be like, oh, we didn't know your beard was gonna be this big, and I'd have to be wiping. Like I had my hand up in your beard. It was terrible.
Trying to shave in the suit. It was tough.
Because those are like, just to clarify, like those are sort of custom made spacesuits, and they were made for this shoot specifically by the folks at sorry, it's slipping my mind right now. By Taku and his crew down at just down on whatever it is, Front Street there. So yeah.
Wow.
I remember that when we went to initially go and try them on, and we were just doing like a test run, and that place is super cool. It's like special
Yeah.
effects, like everything in there hanging on the walls and stuff. But the first time that Tate like clicked the helmet onto me, and people were talking, and I was like, I can't hear what you're saying. And then it was like I got emotional just standing there in the test room with like pieces of like the Predator's wardrobe around me, and like like Star Trek
Cool.
guns. I was feeling all vulnerable and emotional.
Yeah. It was at Walter Clausen Effects, and yeah, exactly. Like they've got Star Trek stuff on the walls, and like you're all super happy and jubilant and everything else to be there. And we put that on you the first time, and it was just like, boom, you just shut down. Yeah, it's really bizarre. So
So
I think
the
it's
sorry,
isolating.
the suit itself helps get you into character.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like immediately.
Wow.
And then Tate, am I correct in remembering that this is a DGC supported short film?
Well, it's not DGC supported, but it was. That's like when the DGC started their short film awards, I did put this in for that, and it was shortlisted.
Okay.
And actually, you know, like when that process sort of ended, I was like, I chatted with Warren Sonoda, you know him, and he
Yeah.
was, yeah, no, and he was like really encouraging. He was like, hey, it's a great script, you should, try and make it. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make that. So
Good. And
yes.
I just say
Yeah.
to Kate, I love hearing that, because
Yeah.
I've also heard filmmakers say, oh, I tried to get this grant for my short, but I didn't, so I can't make the short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we
No,
just-
make it anyways, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, just go out there and work your ass off and
Yeah.
make a few bucks and then spend it on spacesuits. So
And
Well,
it's
then-
always great to have a champion like Warren, who
Yeah.
is a huge champion for independent filmmakers out
Yeah.
there as well.
Yeah.
Great.
So
What else are you guys working on? Tate, what are you working on in the future? Because we'd love to see some more stuff from you.
yeah, I've been writing a ton right now. I mean, it's tough to tell what kind of stuff is going to go into
Yeah.
production. But yeah, like David Fernandez, the other the producer, he and I've been kind of working on a feature, and we got a couple of features sort of cooking. So that's what I'm looking at.
Cool. Natalie, what about you? Anything on the
Well,
horizon?
the auditions have started up again,
Oh,
which
good.
I'm fascinated how that's gonna happen. I'm so interested in the brave new world that the entire industry finds themselves in, and what is a film set gonna look at? What is just going into hair and makeup? What is that gonna look like?
Yeah.
But it sure is nice to be having some material to be working on, because I've been homeschooling my 5-year-old son for the past, I don't know, what day is it? 80? I don't know, since March 13th.
Yeah.
So it's exciting to be brushing off the old acting chops.
Cool. Dalmar, are you just
Dalmar?
basking in the glory of your recent award for a bit, which would be well deserved?
Yeah, that's the light that you see is actually coming from the. No, they haven't sent it to me. They haven't sent it to me. I don't know when it's going to get here, but I'm in the same boat as Natalie. Auditions have started up. I'm a counselor on Actor Toronto, and so we meet once a month, and we are hearing from the members and talking about what set is going to look like when we do go back. And so there's definitely a lot of questions on people's minds, but for the time being, I'm just staying sharp. I'm keeping abreast of what's happening in the news, and just staying focused and staying aware of what's happening. So yeah, I've got a lot to do. I'm definitely not too bored here in my apartment, but I'm in the same boat with everyone.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad, and I know I speak for Ashley. I'm so glad that you guys chose to stick with us through our whole figuring things out, and were a part of our lineup, because it was this screening today, you and Volition. I mean, it was a natural fit as well. So thank you for being part of this year.
Well, thank you so much for having us. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for figuring out a way to make all of this still happen. Right on for you guys.
It was close. Close. But yeah, I mean, it's only because everybody got together, and including the filmmakers, all the filmmakers. All right, you know what? Thanks to all of us. We're all doing such a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so hang out for a moment, guys, and I'm going to say to everybody in internet land, a big thank you again to the cast and crew of HYPERNOVA. What a great film. I hope to see more from these folks, and stick around. We're going to be right back with the cast and crew from Volition. See you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
All right. Thanks.
And we're back. We're back with the cast and crew from Volition. Guys, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome. Got Tony,
Hi.
Ryan, Adrian here, so the filmmakers and the lead. So why don't we dive right into it by me gushing. I'm going to gush for a while, because I love, and Ashley knows this because I say this all the time, but I love time travel movies, or you know, psychic movies or whatever, but I love them all. But I'm also really critical of them. Very, very, very critical. So this one, when it came to me, I'm open because I wanna love it. That's how I go into it. All positive vibes, and you didn't let me down. And you threw in some extra grittiness, which I wasn't expecting. You threw in twists and turns that I had not seen before, and I want to know how you kept that kind of story. Sorry, when it comes to plot, anyways, how you kept that fresh. Was that in the writing process? Were you consciously thinking of keeping that fresh and how to do something new, or did it just happen accidentally? What is that process like when you're writing something like this?
Well, first of all, thanks for having us, Bern. We're so proud to be part of the festival and to be here with Super Channel. So on behalf of Volition and our whole team, thank you. On behalf of, I really like Ryan and myself, who created this beast together. We always come at, I think, our work from a character place. So we knew that this was a guy who wasn't a superhero. He was someone who was wounded and had this, you know, affliction of clairvoyance. So we knew starting from there, it had an authenticity and a gritty feel. And that extended out, of course, into the casting with Adrian, who brought so much of his own life and his own texture to the role. But to get back to the story, I mean, Ryan can jump in here as well. We hammered this thing out for years. I mean, it was really difficult, actually. We're actually both like 17 years old. We've just aged like 20 years in no
That's
time.
what making movies does to you. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Ryan, do you want to jump into anything?
And your brother.
Yes, and we're brothers. Yeah.
Tony and I are brothers, and you can't really tell who's the older or younger brother because this movie has aged us equally, I think, somehow. But no, the writing process was really just because of the intricate nature of the plot. Tony and I were just constantly going back and forwards, you know, like working on the opening, working on the ending, working on the middle, then having to retweak everything as we make new discoveries. And it was just dozens and dozens of drafts until we had a version that was ready for the cast to look at.
I love that. So dozens and dozens of drafts. How does that translate in years? Like, seriously, like that, being brothers, committing to this genre of film and the intricacies of story and plot and character development. How long did that actually take you?
Well, I mean, so the first draft was written in 2012. It almost went to camera in early 2013. It didn't happen for various reasons. And then we kind of parked it for a little bit so that Ryan and I could work on different projects, separate and together. And then we really started cracking in 2014. And again, we shot in 2017. So, I mean, we both have our careers, our day careers. Well, this is our passion project, which is why it was a family affair, which is why my sister was our first AD. My other sister was our caterer. Adrian's an old friend and someone who we, of course, earned this role through his incredible work through the years. But yeah, we had multiple just visions of the film. Like, we knew that the character and the trajectory was the same, but we tried many different ways.
Wow. So I'm going to throw it over to Adrian now, because this is one thing I really want to ask you. And with all that in mind that they just said, and I know you already even knew that, is that you did look like not even just wounded, but like your character didn't want any part of this. And you had just, it seemed to me, just learned how to just live with it, just deal with it, just at least just go on your day to day before things started really, coming to fruition and falling on your head without your character being able to maintain much control. So how since you guys knew each other for a long time, were you involved, or did you know about the script earlier, or how much input did you have into how the character was dealing with all this stuff?
It had been something Tony and I had been talking about sporadically for quite a long time. Like, I can remember seeing a really early draft, like 8 years ago or something like that. And so I did have some idea. We had done a music video for a song of mine back in 2011, which weirdly, unintentionally almost acts as like a short film precursor to this, because it deals with some of the same kind of stuff. That the look of the character of James is actually exactly the same. Like, we took it from that video because it just, I'm in the music video. and so it kind of came from that. But it was, yeah, it was sort of sporadic. It wasn't until we like knew we were going to go to camera that we started having more read-throughs, and I started to do my work, and Tony and I actually started to talk more seriously about the character. But I think in all those drafts and developments, it's like, you know, every couple of years I'd read a new one and get some idea of it. But no, I didn't really have a lot of input into what the character was going to be like in those early years.
So then when it was go time, what was your process like as an actor in this crazy story?
Yeah, it's a hard script to understand, you know, especially
You must
like
have so many notes in your script.
I did. I had to come up with a system. This doesn't sound very artsy, but I created a spreadsheet. Which basically laid out you know, what the scene was, and then I came up with number rankings for like what emotional level James was at, what physical level of distress he was at, because it was really important to me that because he's in distress for so much of the movie, almost all of it, that there needed to be an arc, or it would be very stagnant. And so that was great to have, because then we'd be halfway through a 15-hour night shoot and going to do this scene, and my brain was kind of dead, and I had all my notes, and I could flip to this page in the spreadsheet and be like, okay, this is where he is, this is what just happened, this is how he's feeling, this is the physical injury that's still dogging him from the last couple, you know, all that kind of stuff. Which I'm so glad I did that, because it was really helpful.
And
well, I was going to say this, which is so important, because we, of course, when we're filming the movie, we don't shoot everything sequentially. So Adrian has to not only know, like a normal actor, where he is emotionally, like with his continuity, but we also had to like do multiple versions of the same scene on the same night. So he had to really be able to jump around and know that he was seeing himself from a different perspective or something like that. So it was a brain tease every night for all of us.
Yeah.
And how many shooting days did you have?
We had 18 days, which was definitely about 13 too few. Which is why our days and nights stretched.
Yeah, our crew just like worked so hard. Our cast and crew and everybody on set like gave it everything they had, and I think we just owe so much of this film to them. So
absolutely, I think that's probably the best set that I've ever worked on. Just it really felt like everyone, even though it was a lot of night shoots, a lot of hard stuff, it really felt like everybody wanted to be there and wanted to just help out in any way they could. So you know, you would see people jumping out of their normal roles to like carry stuff that they didn't have to carry, and whatever. Just everyone just wanted to make this thing like, and throughout it didn't go away throughout the like quite kind of trying shoot process.
Well, I'm sure everybody's got to be crazy proud, because I mean, you guys also screened at a lot of festivals, and won. I counted. I think it was 7.5 million awards or something like that. I'm like, give or take 8, I think. But
take 8 or so.
Yeah.
You guys ended up with a fantastic movie. So yeah, definitely big like round of applause to all those people that helped.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's a real testament, I think, as well, to a lot of filmmakers and artists have fear around putting their work out there or taking a chance. And you know, Ryan and I questioned the structure of the script, about the plausibility, about so many factors, and we were going to pull it back into like safe land. And you know, every now and then, it's just so nice to take a risk and to have the gratification, the validation from you guys and from other festivals, you know, for having and loving the film. This means everything to us, because we did, you know, the authenticity that you see on the screen, it's there from all of us. Like, we really loved making the movie.
Well,
so
well deserved.
Thank you again.
And you can tell that the whole team was involved, for like even just, for example, of what Adrian was saying with making sure there was an arc, making sure that, you know, his character could give the audience a breath here and there. And that's one of the main reasons I was drawn to it so much, because of that character. Looked like, you know what it reminded me of is like the first Die Hard. It was Bruce. It was like you were Bruce Willis, without the comedy bits, really, but it was that guy who, what the hell am I doing here? And I don't want to be here, but I've got to keep going forward. And it was amazing performance too, man.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thanks very much. I remember always loving how Bruce Willis's singlet in that movie goes from being like pristine white to just like kind of green gray by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Not that different from your own in the film.
Yeah,
actually.
that's true.
Yeah.
A lot of the sweat and blood is real on Adrian there. For the film. We thank him.
Yeah.
So cool. What are your plans next then, guys? What have you got going on? Right, we want to see more. So.
Yeah, well, we're working on a couple of obviously follow-ups that are close to Volition. We have something that's in. I mean, we don't want to spoil anything now, but very exciting, dealing with genes and splicing, and we want to do something that's just very small and what is the human conditions? What Ryan and I are working on smaller kind of another Volition level. And then I don't know, Ryan, if you want to talk about other projects or
and then we have we have larger projects that we're trying to balance, like smaller things that can be done on a lower budget, and the bigger things, because who knows. And so we've got a film that's also similar in tone, but dealing with the world of psychology and magic. We're playing with those.
Very cool.
Our grandfather was a magician who also suffered from dementia, and so towards the end of his life, the idea of an illusionist being lost in an illusion is something that we are exploring, I suppose. It's one of the themes of the film, I suppose. Yeah.
Wow, very cool. Well, we're definitely looking forward to that. So hopefully you can get it made quickly in the post-pandemic era.
Yeah.
Everybody's first worldwide pandemic. Nobody knows what's happening, but I know that you guys are gonna make it happen somehow. I mean, if you can pull Volition off to that degree of pure awesomeness, then I have no doubt you're gonna pull that one off. So yeah, best of luck with that. And,
thank you. Appreciate that.
Hey, no problem. So another big thank you to you guys for being part of the festival this year. It was an amazing addition to the lineup. I love putting good genre films in there. So thank you for that. To everybody else watching, stick around for the festival, because next week we've got a lot more industry series. We've got movies happening. So check out canfilmfest.ca or our Facebook page to see what's happening. And until next week, until Thursday, until we start again, we'll see you soon. So see you later, and thank you to the Volition crew.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. It's Ashley. Thanks, Fern.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Hello, my name is Wendy Potonsky, and I'm the managing partner and owner of Retake Furniture Rentals. Retake is once again a proud supporter of the Canadian Film Festival and is working to contribute to the Canadian film and TV industry by making it an easy and sustainable place to do business. Retake understands the importance of set design and the dynamic nature of the film and TV industry, which is why we created a company to specifically support Canadian filmmakers. Retake provides sustainable short and long-term furniture rental options to meet production schedules and product needs. Our in-house upholstery services can tailor our product to meet your set design requirements and match your color schemes. We use sustainable approaches to minimize product going to landfill when you no longer need the furniture on your set. Retake can also assist you in setting up your office with sustainable alternatives to keep your team working safely as we all head back to work during this unprecedented time. Our goal is to help you create memorable sets. Stay safe, everyone, and enjoy the films and shorts at this year's Canadian Film Festival.